Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. Needless to say, I'm slightly nervous about this whole episode because this is my very first Facebook Live. I'm used to speaking to a camera, but that's when I'm all alone. Now I'm feeling the pressure of having people watch. But welcome. I hope you've got all your goodies together and we can start. So what we're going to do first is assemble our cover. So you will need your two, let me just see if I'm in shot here. There we go. So you'll need two chipboard pieces. Mine is 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, and then one spine that measures 1 inch by 8 1/4. And I use my binding tape, my book binding tape. You're going to use whatever you have available to you at the moment. And if you've watched my video for the assembly, you should have an idea of what we're going to do. So basically what I do before I start is I check to make sure that all my pieces are exactly the same size. We need to make sure that, hi Hetty, hi Michelle, morning Tammy, you need to make sure that all your pieces are nicely aligned so that they don't, your book doesn't come out skew. Okay, so hi Cindy, welcome. Ooh, your first project in your new scrap room, that's awesome. Okay, so we're going to be, and I hope you can see, we are going to be edging the three sides of both your covers, and it's quite simple. All you have to do is make sure that this is more or less in the center of your tape. Okay, I'm going to snip that. Michelle, awesome scissors, I love it. Okay, then what we are going to do is we're going to snip into the corners. I'm trying to see if I'm in shot. If I'm not in shot or you can't see, just give me a shout. Okay, so we've got all those corners snipped, and now we're just going to push the one side down. Here we go. Yeah, Cindy, if you have the one from the pack, you need to trim that down to 1 inch. So the width of this spine is 1 inch. You've got my, you have got my 8 1/4 kit, and that kit comes with a 2 1/2 inch spine. So you need to trim that down to 1 inch. Okay, now I'm going to miter these two corners. And that's the one side done. I'm just going to trim that off. Okay, one side done. And if you find, like mine, if you've got a little bit of a crease there, just use your bone folder to burnish all those edges nicely. You've got a neat edge. go. And now we're going to do the next one. Marika, it is this is a book binding tape that I found a few years ago. I've been using it for a while. It is very similar to a gaffer tape, except that it's more like a fabric one. I don't know, it should be available at Hardwares, but I'm not exactly sure. But you can use normal gaffer tape if you have, except that the gaffer tape is a little bit shiny compared to this one. Okay, so we're going to be snipping into the corners again. Hi Nola. Hello Yvette, nice of you to join us. Good morning Sharon. Okay, so we're flattening this one again. Mitering the edge. And you may hear my family around in the background, so we are in lockdown. Although I've banished them for the moment. Hi Natasha. So this is what we did with the ladies at National Scrapbook Day. We did it in a 6x6 version, and I think this binding method was a hit with everyone because it's so quick and easy. Once you get used to it and you do it often enough, you can churn out a... Hi Nirali. Hello Kiara. You can churn out an album in no time. And if you're making this as a gift for someone, you don't have to include all the flaps and stuff, because that's the part that takes all the time. And I find that very often people who don't use these albums or who don't make albums, they sometimes don't know how to manage the ones with all the flaps. So good morning Natalie. Hi Hanali, welcome. Hello my friend Naomi, nice to see you here. So yeah, so if you're making this as a gift for someone who doesn't have much scrapbooking experience, then it's best just to make a simple one, just pages, and that's it. So I'm going to put my my spine together with my cover now, and I tend to use my, let me just see if I'm in shot quickly. I use my scoring board because I find that the top edge of the scoring board helps me keep everything aligned, and I normally leave a 1/4 inch gap for my albums. So we've got it lined up. Yes, Belinda, the tape is available. It is like not a pure white, it's an off-white. I prefer the black though. Okay, so I'm going to just center that and flip it over. And then I pull that part tight there. And just bring it towards you. Hello Rachel, good morning. Hi Barbara. Morning Renee. And when I cut this off, I cut it just below like maybe a 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch, depending on how much border you want on your edge of your album. Now the reason why I put the black border on is because when you're adding your pattern paper and you normally leave a border, then you don't have that raw edge on the side, so your album is practically finished. So there we go. There's our spine in. Assalamu alaikum Auntie Nabi. Hello Ambrance. Hi Karen. Okay, so we've got that one piece done. And now I'm going to do the other side. Now this is a little bit tricky when it extends beyond your scoreboard, but it still works. So do that side. Oopsie, I've gone skew. Flip it. And this is a very forgiving process. If you make a mistake, you can just pull it off and start again. I've done it several times, believe me. I make lots and lots of mistakes all the time. Okay, so there we go. We have the cover done. Not so bad, eh? So we'll put the cover to one side. Oh yes, I always forget this part, and when I have to put my pages in, I realize I didn't do the edge. So to fill up the edge, because this is a narrow one, you can just put a small piece of your tape over the top like that, and that should be fine. Kiara, I am going to post it on my YouTube channel if I figure out how to do it. I'm a bit technically challenged. You will not believe how many sessions I had on a fake Facebook page. Hi Belinda. On a fake Facebook page to see if I'm in shot, etc. So there we go. So that's done. I'm going to put it to one side, and we're now going to cut all our pages to size. And for this, I'm going to need my trimmer. Can you see? Okay, so like I said in the tutorial, you need 12 sheets of A4 color cardstock of your choice. My choice, I prefer black most of the time. I use lots of black and craft. So if you prefer white, by all means, go for it. I just find that the black is what I tend to levitate to most of the time. So if we are in shot, so the first thing we're going to do is, I've got the sample album here, so we're going to concentrate on this left hand side first. And if you look at the album in here, there's a little pocket, so we're going to cut that little pouch first. Right, and the pouch is 7 by 9. So because we're using A4, it's 8 1/4, I'm going to cut it in the landscape on 9 inches. Keep all your offcuts, ladies. You can use it afterwards. And then we cut 7 on the portrait side. And what you need to do is mark this as A. And I just write on the pouch. If you're using post-it notes, you can do that. I put it face down so that when I pick everything up afterwards, it's all in the same order. And then the left cover, which is your main flap here, just refer back to it quickly and show you. So this one, this is your main flap. That one measures 7 by 8. So I'm going to cut the 7 here, and because this is 8 1/4, we should be able to get the 8 out of the portrait size. So that is my B, and that's the main flap. Why is my pencil not writing? Okay. Then we're going to cut the waterfall, which is this here. That's the waterfall there. So there's four flaps in the waterfall. So you're going to need 4 sheets for that, and that is 4 by 6, 6.5 by 7. So I'm going to cut it at 7. I love this trimmer. By 6.5. That's 1. By 6.5. The grammage of the cardstock. Hi, Michelle. The GSM is about 250 grams. If you go thicker, then it becomes difficult to score. I know, Belinda. You know, you try to be prepared, but if you're live, things happen. So how many do we have? I've got 3. I need 1 more. Okay, so those are my waterfalls. And that's C. So I'm putting that down. Then we're going to need a piece that's about 2.5 inches wide, and I'm going to check with my offcuts what I've got here. Where's my ruler? Let's see. It doesn't matter. I'll just use this one. This one is just about 1 3/4. It's one of my offcuts by 7 inches. So I'm going to use that one. That's my D, and that's my waterfall flap. Okay, so that side is done. Then we're going to go onto the right side of your folio. So it's the same. Thank you, Kiara. So the right side has a pouch as well. So that one is also 9 by 7. And that's number E, right pouch. You guys will not believe what I had to do to set up this thing. I'm sitting in my bedroom now because my original plan didn't work out. So fortunately there's an aircon in here, so I'm not dying of heat at the moment. Okay, so page F is 8 by 7.25, and that is, show us the right side again, finish for Michelle. So there we go. This is the right side. There's a waterfall here. And then when you close the waterfall, it opens up like that. So that was the one flap that you cut. And this is actually the base of your pocket. And that's where the pocket is, underneath. Does that help? Okay, so on the right side you have several flaps and pockets. So let me just show you that before we start cutting. So it's got a nice, we've got the pocket here at the bottom, which is exactly the same like the left side, which I've just cut. And then if you open this one, it's got a flap going to the left. So that's one full flap there, 1 and 2 flaps, which we're going to cut now. And then we've also got 2 flaps going to the other side. So let's cut that one first. So that is flap F, which is 8 by 7.25. So I'm going to cut the 7 1/4 side first, because I know I can get the 8 out of the other side. And that's 8. Pencil. So this is F, flap 1. And then flap 2 is 8 by 7. And I keep all my offcuts because those are my mats that I use inside the album afterwards. So that is flap 2, and that's G. And then, so that is your right side of your album, but the flap that goes to the left. Then, oh, Yvette, group files is just right on the top of the Scrap and Sell group. You should be able to find it there. So now we're on to flap H, which is 8 by 7 1/8. So we're gonna cut 8. And that is 7 1/8. So let me just get this right here. 7 1/8. So this is flap 3, which is H, and that goes on the right. I'll just put right side here so I know. And then the next one is 8 by 7. Straightforward, no extra measurements. Oh, my notes are here, don't worry, Di. It's far away so you can't see it. That just makes me look smarter. So that was flap 3, flap 4, and that will be I. And then the top flap is J. And that is 6. Oh, let me just show you what that is. So what I'm doing now is these two, so they flap up and down. Flap 2, Kiara, there are notes in the let me just see, flap 2 of the right side, you mean? Flap 2 of the right side is 8 by 7. Okay, so we're doing J and K, and that we can get out of one A4 sheet. So it is 6.5 by 6.5, and that is J. That's your top flap, and then K is 6.5 by 5. So let's cut the 5 and 6.5. So that is K, bottom flap. Then the last is your little pocket, which comes in here. It's this little pocket, and I just used one of my offcuts. I cut it to size, so one of these pieces that you have on the side should be fine. And that measures 3 inches by 7.5. So let's cut. And if you want your pocket to be a little bit higher, then you can increase that 3-inch size. So you can make it a little bit higher. So if I want to, let's do this one 3.5. Let's see what happens. So this is central pocket. Okay, and that's all our cutting done. So Auntie Navi, you slept late. Okay, now ladies, when you're making these albums, your scoreboard and your scoring tools are very important. I insist on using a scoreboard. There's nothing that beats the crispness of a scoreboard. So if you packed all your goodies one by one down on top of each other, when you flip them over, they should be in the correct order now. So from A downwards. Just put my cover to one side. So now we're going to score. Is everyone with me? Oh, Belinda, so you're going towards your warmer weather, hopefully. Yes, around about May, June. Okay, so we're going to score your A piece first, which is your pouch, and you're going to score it on 1/2 inch, and then turn it around and score it on the lengthwise at 1/2 inch, and then turn it around again and score on the other side at 1/2 inch. So this is what you're sitting with at the moment. I hope you can see it. Okay, and then I'm going to put it down again, face down, so that when I need it, I pick it up and it's all the same size again. Then number B, we're scoring 1/2 inch on the, let me see, on the 7-inch side we're scoring at 1/2 inch. So that's the 7-inch side, so it measured 7 inches there, and we're scoring 1/2 inch there. I wonder if that feels right. Let's see. That doesn't feel right to me. Okay, we'll see if I did it right. And then with our waterfall, we're going to do this 4 times. So on the 7-inch side, we're scoring 1/2 inch on all 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's done. Oh yes, I prefer to use my ball tool. I found with my other tool, the end got kind of blunt at the end. So I don't use my scoring tools at all except the ball tool, and then I just keep it for scoring. And then on this one, which was my offcut, 1/2 inch, with the long side facing the top of your scoreboard. Okay, so that's done. So that's your side A done. Then we go on to the right side of the album. I'm flipping it over. Same, so the pouch is exactly the same like the pouch for side 1. So it's 1/2 inch, turn, 1/2 inch, turn, 1/2 inch. So that was E. And then we go on to F. So F is, we've got score on the 7¼ inch side. So that's the 7¼ inch side on 1/2 inch and on 3/4. Okay, so you've got like a little channel here, if you can see it. And then we go on to G. So score on the 7-inch side at 1/2 inch. So that one's quite straightforward. Full tools are for making dots on the rocks. Who's that? I missed that one. Then we are on H. It's a multi-purpose tool. You're right, Belinda. So we are on H, and we're scoring half an inch, and let me see, on the 7 and 1. So on the 7 and 1/8 inch side, we're scoring at half an inch and 5/8 of an inch. So 5/8 of an inch is just the line right next to the half inch line. So we've got a smaller little channel there. And then flap I is the 8x7 one, and on the 7 inch side is scoring at half an inch. Mariette, die mates is op die scrap and salsa groepie. You'll be able to pick it up under the file section. Definitely die. It does give a much better score. So J, so because this is a square, you don't have to see which side you're scoring on. They're both the same size. So half an inch. And then K, let me just see, half an inch. So we're putting the short end, so it's the 5 inch side, butt it up against your top, and we're scoring at half an inch there. And then we come to the central pocket, which is our last score, and this one we score the same like we score the pouch. So half inch, flip, half inch, flip, half inch, and that's it for scoring. So I don't think we're doing too bad with time, eh? What's the time? Half an hour. Not bad. Okay, so flip this over. Now we need to apply tape, and I use a 10mm red tape for mine. Thank you, Michelle. It's lots of practice. Caroline, you got booted out. Why, Caroline? Have you been naughty? Hi, Teresa. Okay, so if you've not heard this before, once you've scored something, you have a dented side, which is the actual side that you scored. And if you flip it over, you'll see there's a bumpy side. Now, the paper folds a lot easier if you fold it towards the bumpy side. And for that reason, we are going to put our tape on the dented side. Okay? So, you put it closest to the edge. And I use red tape because I don't want my things to be coming loose. And with this one, you don't have to go right down to the bottom. You can stop at that intersection there where the lines join, because we're cutting that bit away. So, the bottom. And this is the boring part, ladies. I think for me, this is the most tedious part of the whole process. I wish I had a magic wand that would just put tape on for me and it would be done quickly, but it's an integral part of your folio, because if it's not done properly, then it's going your book's going to come apart. So use good quality tape. I insist on using red tape. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but if you're putting so much time and effort into something, then you don't want it to come loose. I love the scissors. Okay, and I'm now adding tape to the waterfall pieces. I can't Michelle, if you can just give Tammy some direction where to find the file and in files. What's the name of the file? I can't remember. I think it's Kanya Crafts or something. Michelle, I use wet glue in addition to the tape, and you know I don't have a very straight eye, so I sometimes go skew. And with red tape, you know, once you've stuck it down, it's stuck. So I put some, just a little bit of, you do need the scissors, Kiara. It's on order. I use the glue just as a little bit of a leeway to give me some, what do they call it, wriggle room, so that once I've stuck, it's not stuck forever. I can still shift it around slightly. So any glue of your choice, really, it doesn't matter. And my last piece here. I'm just realizing now I'm working black on black. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Shireen, only essentials, Shireen. Craft supplies are not going to be delivered during the lockdown period unless you're going to lie and say you're going to do grocery shopping. I don't think SAP is going to understand the need for tape. Oh, this is one of the best scissors I've ever found. I did say the tape part was going to be a bit boring, right? So I wonder what you guys have been up to during the lockdown. Have you been scrapping up a storm or been sleeping late? I have so many ideas of things that I need to do, but I don't know if we're going to have time. You know, 21 days seems long, but before you know it, it's going to be over. And I think we all just need to continue praying and hope that this thing, you do need it, Lynn. I ordered one for you already. Yeah, we just need to keep praying and ask the Almighty to protect us all during this time. It's quite a scary time we're going through, and I'm so shocked at how quickly this thing turned around, and something as small as a virus that we cannot see with the naked eye is holding the entire world to ransom. So if you have not decided to stay indoors, I think we need to stay. Cosette, these are Westcott scissors. I actually bought mine from Michelle van Wyk. So you can place a pre-order with her. Yes, Shireen, stay home. Crafters, we have enough to keep us busy. I'm slowly running out of essentials like milk, but I try to order online from Woolworths. There we go. That's it. Kanya Crafts photo portfolio tutorial or something like that. So I'm finally putting on my central pocket. This is my last tape. Yeah, so I tried to order from Woolies, and my daughter said she got kicked out on the mobile app. And I got in and I placed this huge order, and when time came to check out, their next delivery date was the 25th of April. 25th of April, can you believe it? Will do, Teresa. We're not sure when the next orders are going to arrive because of the lockdown. Yeah, that is gonna take a while still before things come. Still not unpacked. That's terrible, Nola. You must take it out. You'll never use another scissor again. So this is my latest new toy. I got it just before the lockdown. It's not cheap. I think I got mine from Nikki Zip at Paper Chain. If you want to order anything from Nikki Zip and you're in Cape Town, you're welcome to let me know. And I get things from her all the time, so you'll save on the shipping. this is a bone folder, but it is the Teflon one. And what I love about it is it doesn't make anything shine. So my next step, yes, it is boring, but it is essential, is to burnish all my tape. That's what I do. So this is my therapy. While I'm burnishing the tape, I can think about stuff that I need to do. Oh, that's great to know that your woolies is all sorted out. Marty, yes, I'm going to load the video onto my YouTube channel. So if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you should be able to pick it up once it's loaded. And all my, hi Irene, welcome. All my projects that I've done for Celebrate and for Lady Pattern Paper, etc. I always do a run through on YouTube. I know it's boring, but sometimes photographs don't do justice to things, and showing people how I made things and what my thought processes were at the time. Oh, it does. I'm not so Hetty, thanks for that. I'm not so advanced with my technology, so you won't believe how much I got my entire family involved here to get this thing going for today. So that will be great. Yep, so I was saying scoring, and this scoring tool is... Walaikum salam, Karima. How are you? You're late. I thought you're going to join us at 10 o'clock. Okay. So, like I said, this is the boring part, but you will notice when you burnish your tape, like especially the red tape, it changes color. As you can see how the glue adheres to your paper, and I think that's very important in terms of making sure that your things don't come loose. So I'm done with that side. And now other side. So that's the flap for the waterfall. How many people are actually making it along with me? I would be interested to know. Are you coping? Are you keeping abreast with me? Oh, and with regards to tape, when you are making anything, even cards, albums, etc., try not to have tape overhang. And what I mean about tape overhang is that little bit there. I'm too fast for you, Kiara. I'm sorry. Fortunately, you can go back to the video afterwards. Oh, hi, Karima. Thanks, Michelle. Like I said, it's not my original concept. I saw this on YouTube. It's a guy called Paul Ford. I think he's British, so he's a little bit on the boring side, I'm sorry to say, but very meticulous. And when I saw it, he's got loads of other videos online, so you must take a look and see. Okay, Sharon's making notes. Hi, Sharon. So check out his videos. I found quite a few that I liked, and I have to admit, when I made this one, as I was putting it together, shame on Tinavi, I'm so sorry. As I was putting it together, I realized, oh, I can do that, or oh, I couldn't do this, and I had to just curb myself to make sure that I'm not making it too complicated, because these things can become quite complicated. Okay, so now we've done all the tape work. We need to score them. So I'm going to fold over, And this is also very important. I know the scoring is boring, but if you want your album to lie flat, you do need to burnish these score lines very well. So this is a pocket, and I'm scoring it. Let me just see if you can see what I'm doing. I'm scoring it. I love this thing because it's got that flat edge at the back. And once I've done this, I'm going to cut away those corners. So now I can see the defined corners there, and this you're going to snip across like that. And what that does is it gives you a nice clean finish. I'm going to raise this so you can see it. There we go. And the idea is that you don't want these two pieces to overlap, so they lie right next to each other, and when you turn it over, you don't have any excess on that side there. It's a nice clean finish. So I'm going to do the same on the other side, and I don't always get it right, guys. You know, sometimes I cut too much, sometimes I cut too little. Thank God that it's working right now. Okay, so that's your first pouch. And I did mention in my video, if I had to do this, I didn't want to change it now because I had already sent out a tutorial, but if I had to change this, I would actually make that this a double score line, so you have almost like a concertina effect. So what you have to do when you're cutting it, you have to extend it by 1 inch, so half an inch on either side, and instead of just scoring 1/2 inch, you score on the 1/2 inch and you score on the inch line, so you'll have like a concertina effect there, and the same with the bottom. So that will then just give you a thicker, fatter pouch. Thank you, Belinda. You see now, God is merciful. It worked. There's another one coming up, so let's hope it stays so good. I find that if I score it and fold it, I can see the lines better. But you know, at my age, the eyesight's starting to go. So these are the waterfall pieces. The next tricky part for me is actually sticking the waterfall straight, because I normally stand and craft. I don't sit, and so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this sitting down. Now the waterfall, the burnishing is very important for your waterfall as well, because if you don't burnish this well, then your waterfall is not going to be completely flat. So with the waterfall one, I actually do a double burnish. I burnish on both sides. And can you see that there's no shine on my paper? I love this thing. It's so cool. It's worth the money. So this is one from Tonic. Like I said, I got it from Nikki Zip. And Nikki Zip has paper chain in Johannesburg. She's got awesome stuff. She brings in things all the time. So if you are out in that part of the world, you can always look her up, or you can let me know, and I'm happy to share her contact details with you. Okay, so you see there's much flatter than it was before. That burnishing does help. So that's my one side burnished. And we're starting with the pocket on the other side. See, Belinda, now here's another 45 angle that needs to be cut. Let's hope it's going to work. Okay, cutting. Forgot to bring my bin with. Okay, that one's fine. That one's fine. So practice does make perfect. The thing is, if you cut too much away from this pocket, you get those little ugly holes on the side, and you don't want that. Okay, now with these ones it's a little bit more tricky. So what I do is I first do the inside one, and I just ease it over gently so that we don't go out of the lines. And then I open it and I go over the next one. And what that does is it gives us a little, what would you call this, like a book fold. So these, can someone help me? What would I call this now? Can't think of the word. I'm famous for that, my memory's going. But anyway, it gives you gap for your other pages to slot in under these, so that there's no gaping on your folio. And you'll see why it's important to mark all your things, because they're also similar in size and shape. So if you don't mark them, then you can kind of get confused. So this one also has, flap H also has a small little a hinge or a gusset. That's the word, Karima, thank you. A gusset. And now I'm going to do the second piece. This one's a little bit more tricky because it's so narrow. So you just ease it in. Okay, and these are narrow gussets. Thank you for providing me with the word. Hi, Patricia. We are almost at the end of all the scoring, and we'll start to assemble shortly. Okay, here's another pocket. So we do the pocket the same as we do the other pocket. So this is our small pocket that comes on the inside, and scoring the last one. And we shall try our hand at a 45-degree angle once again. One on the one side, one on the other side. And yes, the guards are shining on. Oh, that one's not so great. So let me just trim a piece off. I'm just going to take a small piece away from here. There we go. So like I said before, you want them to sit next to each other. Die, the cardstock is about 250 grams. This one is my, I call it my album card, because I've gone through so many different kinds of cardboard, and this one, it doesn't crease. It doesn't crease and get ugly when you score it, so it works really well. That's right, Alsabi. It's about 250 grams. Okay, we are going to need our cover now, and I'm not sure if I burnished all these well, so I'm just going to do that again. Both sides. And you see I went a little bit skew there, but that doesn't matter, because once your paper goes on, this tape is so nice. Okay, so our assembly. We'll start on the left side first. So last night I had to make notes last night for myself. so that I don't think I've burnished this one well, so that I wouldn't forget how to assemble this poor thing, because you know, in between I'm busy with another album with a new lady pattern paper. It's also an 8x8, and the intention was to do a class in April with that one, but I don't know. My classes for March was cancelled, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do classes in April. So this pocket is going to sit, okay, so before I go any further, let me just explain to you. My spine and my covers are 8 1/4 inches. Everything else is about 8 inches when it's done. That's the reason we can have a small border on either side. Now, we don't want to have too much card on the one side and too much card on the other side, so ideally you need to kind of eyeball it, or if you want to be pedantic you can measure perfectly, but I'm not that pedantic. So you can eyeball and try and centralize it. Okay, so what I do is, because this tape sticks once it's down, oh, I cut my nail, so it's a bit hard to get this off. I'm going to turn this slightly because it's easier for me to work like that. So I'm just making sure that I have everything kind of centered. I'm going to stick the one side there, and then I'm going to peel it off and stick that side down, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side. And I'm going to pull a piece off from this one because it will just make it easier. Okay, so there is, oh, it's a bit skew, but that's okay. There's our pocketing, and just to reinforce it, I'm going to score and burnish. Okay, so that's the first pocket in. Okay, then we have our flap, which is B, and that's going to sit right on top of your pocket because it's going to open to the left. Okay, and that you can line up straight with your pocket because you can still get things inside your pocket, and it looks more secretive that way. So always make people wonder, how did you do that? I know before I understood the concept of creating flaps and stuff, but I used to look at people's albums with absolute amazement and wonder, oh my word, that looks so complicated. How did they do it? But once you understand, okay, here my glue is coming to help me. I use Art Glitter Designer Dries Clear Adhesive. Comes from Mari Smith at Purple Magnolia. And if you're in Cape Town and you want anything from Mari Smith, I'm happy to get it for you because I get things from Mari all the time as well. We have to help each other in this industry, because without working together, this industry is going to die and we are all going to suffer. I mean, I'm going to suffer very badly. So once that is in, it's lined up with my pocket, so we've got our first flap into place. And then what happens is the waterfall sits on top of this flap. What glue is that? Chiara, it is called Art Glitter Designer Dries Clear Adhesive. It's not a cheap glue, it's one of the more expensive glues, but it's really awesome. It works very, very well. Okay, and then our waterfall sits on top here. And this is where I always have an issue because sometimes I stick skew. So I do use glue in between to help me. And I'm going to turn this around to make sure that I am lined up. And that's my first one in. Okay, I just need to make sure I'm in shot here. And so the next one just falls in below the other one. So I don't need to put a lot of glue on, it's just for moving, so that if I do stick skew, I have that little bit of wiggle room there. This is always my issue. Shambhala. Autocorrect, Cindy. These are the waterfall pieces and it is number C. Okay, so you see they're starting to fall one below the other. And the next one will fall right below that one. Check if I'm in shot. There we go. And the last one. Now your little flap sits on the bottom of this one. And I didn't bring a magnet with now. I've got the magnets. Let me just see if my hubby can fetch us some magnets quickly. Because I'd like to show you how I put my magnets on. In the drawer, in the shop, the top drawer, there's a small brown box with magnets in. Of the desk, the white desk in the lane. Okay, so there's our waterfall feature done. So it will open and open and open and open. And this one, so now you've got two options. You can either let that sit on there, which I think is cool, or you can let it sit underneath this page. I think I stuck mine on here just so that it stays in place. But it does hamper the progress of this one. Thank you. Let me just show you quickly. So I stuck mine on the last flap. So it does kind of hinder. Well, it doesn't really. You just need to make sure that it's closed when you open and close it. So I'll do the same with this one, because I know it works. So I'm putting that down on there. Yes, Kiara, I'm using glue over the tape because this tape, once it sticks down, it's really stuck. And you can't, there's no wiggle room, so it is a problem. Then you start tearing your album apart. So the glue just gives me a little bit of wiggle room. I'm just going to eyeball the center here. I'm not even going to measure. So that's stuck down, and that will close like that. So there's the left side of your little folio done. I'm going to put some magnets on here just to show you. So I've got really tiny, tiny magnets. They are about 1 millimeter thick, and how many centimeters? I think it's about 1/2 centimeter wide, but they are strong suckers. So I'm going to use my reed tape to put them down. So I'm just going to put it more or less in the middle here, and don't throw away this covering because I tend to put it back on. So I put both magnets on. You'll see I have both magnets there, and the reason why I put both on is because I just put a dot of glue on that first magnet and I close the flap, and now I've got a dot there where I can see the other magnet has to go, and that just helps me to place my magnets, because I used to have endless problems. They were always misaligned, and this process works for me. If you've got another way that works for you, spot on, good job. That's how it works. If you find a system that works for you, that's perfect. This is my system. And then I just replace the little coverings again until I put my pattern paper down. Otherwise the glue goes everywhere. So that side is done, all finished. Now we're going on to side we're going over to, sorry, I'm just checking your comments on the page. We're going over to the other side. I'll just turn it over. So we're back to the pocket. So this pocket is going to sit on the same place where the other one did, except on the other side of the folio. And oh, I shouldn't have cut. I cut my nails too short. I'm having so much trouble getting this off. Okay. Thank you, Corin. I'm so glad you're finding it useful. I was stressing so much. I thought, oh, is anybody going to come and watch? I'm so grateful for you guys for joining me today. I hope I'm not boring you. Okay, so there's that. I'm just going to make sure that it's straight before I commit with my tape. And then I'm going to do the two sides. So what else do you ladies want to do? Is there anything else that you want to watch? So we've got pouch E. So this one comes next, which is number F, and that's the one with the little gusset. So that one goes there, and the reason why there's a gusset here is because the other flap that goes on the right hand side folds into this one. That's why the gusset leaves a gap there for that. Right, so I'm going to stick that one down. Oh, that's so sweet. Hi, Ranita. You're welcome. Elsevier, I hope so too. I hope my inspiration can keep abreast with everybody's needs. You know, I struggle, guys. Don't think everything comes easily. I have my moments. I do have times when there's no inspiration. I have times when there's no ideas, but I do find that the more I create, the easier it becomes. So don't stay away from your craft room for too long. I mean, we've all got commitments and stuff which keeps us away from our crafts, but this is something that keeps me sane, I have to say. And I have done, oh, that's awesome, Kiara. Hi, Hannah, how are you? I'm so glad you're enjoying the Facebook Live with your mom. One of these days you're going to be making your own albums. Don't worry, it won't be long. So yeah, the more you create, the more the ideas flow. And I know lots of people see they're struggling with clusters, so and arranging clusters. It's one of my worst. Hi Elise, thank you. It's one of my biggest problems is creating a cluster, and I sit with it until I'm happy. And the thing is, I don't have any formal experience in terms of art. I use my eyes. My eyes are my guide, and essentially when something just doesn't look right to me, I follow my gut. So I work with what looks good to me, and you'll see that the more you do things, the easier it becomes. So we've got these flap 2 in place, so that goes like that, and that's the left side done. Now this one is H. Let me just see where H attaches to the, there we go. So H goes there, and the same with H. We've got a little gusset there, so that, let's just show you. Forgot to bring my bin. So H has a little gusset here. Here's the gusset, so that you can, it accommodates with this bulk. So when you fold it over, it lies flat, and there is that's the little gusset for the left side, so that there's gap for this bulk here when that closes there. So that closes, and there, that's why it lies nice and flat. So if you had to eliminate those gussets, then this would be gaping like that. Does that make sense? So our flap H, I'm going to turn it because it's easier for me to work this way, and I'm going to put a little glue on just to help me along. So our H is going to sit right on top of the pocket. And then this one, which is your number I, goes same like we did on the other side. So same, it's going to fit right on here. Oopsie, sorry, I just knocked the camera for a second there. I didn't mean to make you nauseous. Shame, Cindy, sorry man. Don't worry. One of these days we're going to have a real class when all this is over. And then by then you'll be a pro. So that one has been attached to there. Oh man, I got some glue on there now. Okay, so there we go. That's how it's going to look. Then our flaps. So you can choose if you want to put your flaps on the front here. Oh, I've got some tape over in there. I just need to trim that off. I see this one was slightly out in size. How do we cut that? Okay, mistake guys. I think I may have just miscalculated my measurements here. So I've got a bit of a 1/8 of an inch hanging over there, and I need to trim it off. I'm going to trim it after the class, because I'll need to use a, what do you call this, my I'll need to use my, what you call it, my craft mat and my craft knife just to trim that piece off there, because that's just going to cause problems. All the stuff's going to get stuck to it. So I'm going to put my flaps on the front here. So the first one is going to go there, and the next one's going to go at the bottom. So I'm just turning my work because it makes it a little bit easier for me to align things. Okay. And sometimes if you find that, especially if you're working black on black and you find that you cannot see the end line, then what you can do is you can just stick a piece of white card or white paper like underneath it, just to give you that line, so you can see, because at the moment we've got so much black going on here. So if I often just put a sheet of white card in there just to make it easier for me to see that line where I need to place my card on. So that's my top flap, and then the bottom flap comes at the bottom end here, which is your K, and they are just next to the score line, so not on the score line, just next to the score line. And I see mine is just a tad bit too long. I'm going to trim it down. So okay. There we go. Better. Kiara, do you want another session to stick the paper? We can do that. Thanks, Natalie. My cutting board. Oh, I'm getting old, man. Can't remember. My cutting board. Didn't bring it with because I didn't think I would need it. Okay, so that's that. And then your pocket comes right in the middle here. So that's piece L, and my piece L seems to be too big. Let's see. I'll close it. Yeah, I think my piece L is slightly out. I'm going to just score it another 1/8 of an inch, because you know it has to sit in between. It has to sit in between the in between those score lines. If it sits on the score line, then what you're going to have is a slight problem with your book closing. So I'm just going to give it another score there. Now, there we go. This is a perfect learning opportunity. So if you did not cut yours correctly, you see you're going to get that ugly bit sticking out there, and I know I used to get it all the time. So now we need to just trim that across the new line, and there we go, all sorted. So when I put it on here now, it fits nicely in between the lines, in between the two score lines. So that first score line there and that first score line there. Okay. Center it. Make sure that it's all in line. Stick. And that's our pocket done. So there is your completed folio. So let's just open it and go through it quickly. So we've got the left side. Hi Isabel. I must do a paper sticking video. Okay, no problem, we can do it. So I've got my waterfall here, and I love that sound of the magnet just clicking together. So we've got our 4 waterfall pages, and like I said in my video when I did the reveal, these pages are perfectly suited for your 6x4 photos or your 100 by 150 millimeter photos. And if you crop them, you can get 2 on a page. But you know, it's so boring just to stick two photos next to each other. So you can have some pattern paper, and you don't actually need a lot of pattern paper for this album, because I started out, I cut some up to do my full pages, and then what I had left over I used for the waterfall and stuff. So I still have some cardstock left from the bulk pack that I got. So we've got the waterfall, and then we have our flap here. So you've got place for a 7x5 photo, and like I said, 2 6x4s will fit if you crop it slightly on here. And we have the pocket there. Okay, it's quite a deep pocket, so you can get a number of things in there. And then if you turn over to the other side, we've got the first flap, which opens up that way, and then we have our 2 flaps that go up and down, and then we've got we've got the pocket in the middle, and we've got the flap that opens up that way. And that's it, ladies, all done. What's the time? It took us an hour and a half, which is not bad, I think, for a full construction. Thank you, Lynn. Isabel, you have to watch the rerun. Someone mentioned that it does automatically save on Facebook. I hope that's true, so we'll see how it goes. Thanks, Natalie. And if you have any questions, ladies, most of you have my number. It is on my page, or you can message me. Thank you, Belinda. You can message me on Facebook, and we'll see. Maybe Michelle can organize, and we can. 1 down, 999 to go. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to survive so many, Natalie, but thank you. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining me. I really appreciate all the support you have given me. We will do one for to match your papers if you want to, and let's come up with some new ideas. You can let me know what kind of things you want to do, and keep safe, everyone. Look after your families, look after yourselves, stay inside, don't go out if it's absolutely necessary. We have to flatten the curve, as they say, and kill this bug in its tracks so that we can get back to normal life. I think our lives are going to change so much after this. I think we're going to have a greater sense of appreciation for getting into that car and driving and going somewhere. I know I do. We take that so for granted. So let's keep praying and ask the Almighty to let this virus disappear as quickly as it arrived. And I mean, there are our pluses, advantages to this whole thing. I would never have done a Facebook Live if it wasn't for the coronavirus. So everyone, thank you so much. God bless, and have a wonderful day further. Thank you. Bye. See you in cyberspace.